Now, what makes Australia unique? The people, the landscape, the sights and smells, or maybe the sounds. The National Film and Sound Archive has a collection of distinctly Australian sounds that it adds to every year. And 2024 includes some surprising choices.
You can get it rolling. You can get it bowling.
And now you can get it in the National Film and Sound Archives.
You can get it any old how. Matter of fact, I got it now. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer.
Actor John Million's distinctive voice and the musical backing made this ad an instant winner in 1965, and it survived the test of time. Speaking of time,
it will be 3:49 and 10 seconds.
The Postmaster General's talking clock, invented in 1954, has also made the Sounds of Australia collection, along with Tina Areena's timeless classic. And the Time Lord's classic theme tune. Who knew Doctor Who was written by an Aussie composer, Ron Grainer? Also on the list,
Unlimited Posse. That's right, from the Sound Unlimited Posse, boy. Sound Unlimited.
Our first homemade hip-hop hit.
Coming at you from the land
down under, at your waist, and down, and you kick into the undersound.
And a novice senator's maiden speech.
I am Nova Marie Paris. I was born in Darwin in the Northern Territory, and I retain my strong cultural and spiritual ties to my country, to Mother Earth.
Nova Paris, the first Aboriginal woman to win Olympic gold and the first elected to federal parliament.
But I will swap all of that in a heartbeat. I will forgo any number of medals to see Aboriginal Australians be free, healthy and participating fully in all that our great country has to offer.
Some terrific choices there. And the Chief Curator of the National Film and Sound Archive, Megan Loader, joins me now. Megan, welcome to you. What is it that you're looking for when you add sounds to this collection?
We're looking for moments or sounds or recordings or anything that is significant culturally and that tells the national story. So it says something about who we are or where we've been as Australians.
And I think one of the most surprising things about including the VB ad is that it wasn't already there. It's Aussie through and through, surely.
It's so Australian. I think it really comes down to the voice actor, John Million's incredible performance and that just profoundly Australian sound of his voice. And really it reflected the time, doesn't it, of that culture of deserving a beer at the end of a working day for Australians. It's been around forever as well. We've heard it for decades, so it's synonymous with that beer drinking culture that was very much the culture of Australia when it was first recorded in 1968.
And the other item that was a surprise is that Doctor Who theme. Who knew that the composer of that piece of music that we all know was actually an Australian?
Yeah, Ron Grainer was the composer. So he was working in the UK at the time and was doing a lot of other writing for TV and film and for the BBC. And an interesting story, this one, because the composition that Ron wrote was really realised by an extraordinary producer working for the BBC called Delia Derbyshire. And she invented sounds and recording techniques by recording white noise and oscillating sound and cutting it up and mashing it up to create sounds that Ron probably couldn't even imagine, that really brought that composition to life. But we're proudly taking this one back because so many Australians grew up watching Doctor Who night after night.
Yeah, knowing that music off by heart. And do you get any feedback from the people involved? Have you heard, for example, from either Tina Areena or Nova Paris or even members of Sounds Unlimited about being included?
We have actually. So Tina Areena is touring the country at the moment and she was really humbled and, she said it was a surreal moment. And I think it was that moment of knowing that a song that you've written and a song that has endured and continued to find new audiences for so many decades has been recognised as part of Australian culture. And similarly with Nova Paris, in her typical style, she's such an amazing, humble woman, but she reflected on that speech that she gave in Parliament that day, and she knew it was an important one for her, despite her incredible achievements as an athlete and the work that she would do in public life. This was a historic moment as the first Aboriginal woman elected to Parliament, and she was really thrilled as well that was recognised by the Sounds of Australia.
Now, back in 2020, we did a story about your Deadline 2025 campaign. Remind us what that campaign is, and with 2025 almost here, how it's actually going.
So about 10 years ago, we recognised that a lot of the tape that radio and television is recorded on, magnetic tape, it's not built to last. You know, it has an expiry date, and the machines that tape is played on were also not being made anymore. So we had this impending deadline of 2025 when we knew a lot of the tape would be deteriorating, and if it's not kept in the right conditions, it would perish, and we'd lose all those shows and those stories and those moments. That was Deadline 2025. So the NFSA, the National Film and Sound Archive, were lucky enough to get around $40 million of funding to help digitise all of those decades of TV shows and radio so that we would have them forever, and we'd be able to preserve decades of creativity and memories of Australian moments and news and current affairs and programs. So we're about halfway through digitising our collection now, and we're finding that the tapes, if they're stored in the right conditions, which we're doing at the archive, will last a bit longer. So it's still it's a top priority for us to continue to digitise all these stories and to preserve these memories.
Yeah, well, it's a rich treasure trove, so let's hope that everything that needs to be saved is. Megan, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.